Hey, what's going on guys, you're watching FBHD Tech, and today we will dive deep into the question, why does an overclocked CPU run hotter? Everybody knows that when you overclock a CPU, it will produce more heat and in turn it will run at a higher temperature. But why is this the case, you may ask? Let's find out. To understand this phenomenon, we first need to take a closer look at the CPU, also known as the processor. Take a look at this image. This looks as an abstract painting, but this is actually how a CPU would look like if you opened it up and looked at it under a microscope. In order to make it clearer, here is the same image but now with all the main sections marked. This is actually an image of the Intel i9-9900K processor. The reason I'm showing you this image is so you can get a feeling of the size of the CPU, because such a CPU contains billions of transistors. The gate size of a single transistor is only 14 nanometers long, which is insane, and all these billions of transistors are working together in order to perform a certain task. These transistors are often found in pairs, and this technology is called CMOS. In order to understand the heat produced by the CPU, we can simplify the CPU by just looking at the dynamic energy consumption of this CMOS technology. When the CPU is running, in every clock cycle a certain amount of energy will be consumed. A simple model for this consumed energy is the load capacitance times the voltage squared. Half of this consumed energy is being stored in the capacitor and the other half is being dissipated, or in other words, turned into heat. This final formula is then the amount of energy that the CPU dissipates in a single clock cycle. As we already know, the power is the energy per unit time, or in this case the duration of a single clock cycle, or 1 over the frequency. This is then our final simplified model of the power dissipated by the CPU, which is directly related to the temperature. From this equation we can see two things. The first thing is that by increasing the frequency, the dissipated power will increase linearly, which means that also the CPU temperature will increase. So if the frequency is doubled, then the dissipated power will also be doubled. The second thing is that increasing the core voltage of the CPU will increase the dissipated power of the CPU quadratically, which will also increase the temperature of the CPU. This means that if we double the core voltage of the CPU, the dissipated power will quadruple, or in other words, get 4 times higher. To understand this better, you can use the following simple analogy. Let's say you are the CPU and you need to get from point A to point B. If you walk slowly, you will arrive at your destination later, but if you sprint, you're going to arrive at your destination much sooner, but you will be totally covered in sweat. Let's return back to our CPU. When we overclock our CPU, we increase both the CPU frequency and the core voltage. This makes the dissipated power, or the generated heat, increase drastically, which will in turn increase the temperature of your CPU. This is the reason why adequate cooling solutions are required when overclocking your CPU, because they need to move a lot of heat from your CPU in a really short amount of time. Failing to do so will make your CPU temperature increase even further, which could potentially damage your CPU. So make sure to have proper cooling if you're planning on overclocking your CPU. I hope this video was informative and that you have a better understanding of why the temperature of the CPU increases when we overclock it, and also the relation between the CPU frequency, core voltage and generated heat. If you have any questions about this matter, feel free to leave them in the comment section below and I'll try my best to answer all of them. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up button, comment in the comment section below, subscribe to my channel to join our awesome tech community, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you will be notified when I upload future videos.